There we go.
Okay, who wants to go first with the Rhett, their stand up, their what they've done in the past week, and any demos?
I will.
Okay, go ahead.
We're gonna mold these on the NSX. We're gonna mold a body. So I helped them get the fenders off, and then I've been organizing all the tools and etc. But that doesn't really matter to you guys. Probably been much. But see the tools all hanging up and stuff. That's stuff.
On, on the contrary, on the contrary, that is like really important. Because it's there's so much going on. Like the organization and things like that have to go on and clean up. So it's very in tune with Scrum, I think, because the idea of Scrum is to adequately manage
But the
what's
joke
going
was
on.
it doesn't really matter to any of you because
But this is about the whole project, so it is relevant. The thing is, so that's both your demo and what you've done, so that's great. Okay, who wants to go next?
I'll go. Let's see. Actually, I need to share my screen for the first part of this. Just a second here. Okay, so in a previous week, I had set it up where the comments will show up on a blog so that people can comment on blogs, but not show up on a regular page. And the way that I did it, or when I did it, I actually kind of broke the concept of having a dedicated comments page. It actually turned all of these off, so I just had to put in a conditional statement in the page template to fix that. So I did that, and that is actually the only thing I think I need to visibly show. Okay. So other than that, so I looked into, or I was just a lot of research actually in the last couple of weeks on unlicensed but legal FCC Part 15 low power AM transmitters and antennas, which are similar to like real estate agents will use something like that maybe on the FM band for like talking houses and things like that, so you can tune to a frequency on your radio and hear information about the house. I've been looking into it. It would be an interesting project for either information at a shop or if eventually when they're distributing the things, if there's some sort of a storefront for people to be able to tune to a radio station and hear information about the company and the vehicles, things like that. So let's see. And I also did some reading on combining Agile and Scrum with Waterfall. I've been looking into this for this TCC Innovation Forum to try to figure out a good way to present the information to them. And a lot of what I read is really for much larger organizations, and I don't think it's going to be quite as strict. But so anyway, so that leads me into what I'll do next week. For one, I'm going to lay out a possible structure for like a modular WIKISPEED curriculum to present to the TCC Innovation Forum. I think that'd be the best way to deal with it, is to have something that they can just pull pieces out as they want, so that we're not in control of how they're implementing it. We're just in control of giving them the information, basically. I'm also going to look at some what's available as far as gamification plugins for WordPress. That's something like to allow points and badges, something to maybe get a little more social aspect, get more people involved, or to interact anyway. And actually, just about, I don't know, half an hour or 45 minutes ago, my ham radio call sign showed up in the FCC database. So I'm probably going to do some transmitting next week if I can find a radio to do it on. And I don't have any blocks, so that's mine.
Awesome. Yeah, that radio thing sounds really interesting. I think I'll send you, and the Scrum is too. I'll send you. There was a course at Constructs where I took a course on Scrum in Bellevue, and they're talking about it. It's about. I'm gonna. I'll post it anyway. It's a overriding combining Scrum teams in a large project. Okay, Michael, or yeah, you want to go next, Michael?
Just finding the unmute button. Not a lot to report. Did a couple of emails on the group. Apparently, I missed a deadline for Hero X on the challenges. So we're didn't have any revisions to the project for the WIKISPEED project. But I didn't get any suggestions from anyone either. So the progress on the electric motor module has kind of stalled. I'm working on other projects. I have no demo for today, and next week I don't really expect to be seeing a lot of WIKISPEED stuff done. I'm probably going to power up the electric motor controller and see if I can get it to connect up with an accelerator properly. But it's sort of a little bit too detailed to discuss. And I have no blocks. That's about it.
Thank you. The electric motor sounds really exciting. When it'd be nice to hear about it sometime. Okay,
Nope.
Mike. Go ahead.
What's about speed now? Have you got improvements on that? The top speed on
I'm
the
sorry I
electric
didn't catch that.
motor module. Last I heard, it was only able to go 27 or something, or 27 miles per hour.
I'm sorry, you kind of broke up there.
I was wondering what the modern day top speed of your electric motor module. Last I heard, it only went like 20 something miles per hour. Is it up to like 50? Cause
the motor module, the reason it was topping out so low is we don't really have a way to shift the transmission. It would, I'm guessing we'd be getting around 60 kilometers an hour. If we have the battery pack that I've got now is sufficiently high voltage. It's 360 volts, and it's powering a large enough controller. It'll go faster than I would be comfortable driving the car. But we need to deal with linkage to shift the transmission and synchro to get it to change from one gear to another without a clutch, and get a car that I can actually put it into and try it, I guess. But
gotcha.
There's much
I'm
work to do before
starting to work on a transmission.
Sorry, you cut out there?
Dual clutch, though. I'm
Dual
actually thinking about maybe designing a transmission here pretty soon. But it's going to be a dual clutch style, not necessarily completely synchroned.
Okay.
I'll just have to prototype and see if it works.
Yeah, if you can come up with a linkage that we can reasonably connect and disconnect from the cabin, that would be awesome, because right now everything does it hydraulically, and as soon as you break a hydraulic line, you have to bleed it and all that other good stuff. It's not what you'd call quick.
Gotcha. Could you put some pictures up on the...
Okay, you froze on me. Is that my bandwidth
on
or yours?
the folder thingy, whatever it's called, the Dropbox? Just a second.
I think this is the bandwidth in the shop downstairs. Remember, upstairs it's better.
Okay.
Actually, I have a really high-end Wi-Fi adapter, so I don't really think that's the problem. I'm getting bars.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll go next. Are you done, Michael?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I've done one thing I did is Joe sent me something for the a charitable donation form for the IRS, or the charitable status form for the IRS, which was um, organizations to which we have a close connection. He mentioned Scrum. He mentioned another one, and I incorporated that into the uh, basically there's a sheet that's added to the form because there's more narrative long things on it. So I've added it to that, and I'm waiting on the I have a block which is waiting for the Joe to do the finance data, which I'm sure he will soon, as soon as he gets kind of back in tune after his trip. And I think we're close to submitting this to the legal people, to the society that specializes in these charitable helping people. It's a legal group in Washington State that helps people with charitable status. So that I've done that. I did do a test with Zoom with a friend and learned a little bit about it. So I did that, and I've just been watching the threads and the other things. So that's mine. I have no demo. So next we're probably doing retrospective, and where you rate the team, where you rate yourself on 1 to 10, and the team, and rate the team on 1 to 10, and where 1 is poor and 10 is couldn't imagine any better, and also if you haven't mentioned a block, you could mention a block, and also
What is a
what would be? Go ahead.
What is a block?
Oh yeah, a block is something that's stopping you. For example, so I'm waiting for something from Joe before I can complete this form, which is the financial. There's a grid, a financial grid. So
Gotcha.
yeah. So if there's something, and particularly if there's something that someone else might be able to help you with, just like when Michael told you about the gears for the electric motor, for the transmission. So that could be a block, and then you, the idea is people can jump in and with a way to unblock. And finally, there's what would you like to see happen for the, what would you like the whole group to do in the next week that would make it even more terrific?
Show up on time to the stand, or for everyone to show up on the stand-ups? No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. Okay, so who wants to go first on the retrospective, like the rating and the why and the thing that would be awesome for next week? Chris, do you want to go?
Yeah, I can go. I don't have anything for process improvement. I think this is the only week I haven't actually written anything down for it. But I'm going to go maybe 7 or 8 for me. I started a new job a few weeks ago, so I'm still getting into the swing of that schedule, and I'm not able to participate with WIKISPEED as much as I want to. I think that'll be changing fairly soon. I think I can squeeze a few more hours in. But 10 for the team. It's good to see everybody on the call working on different projects always. So, and I know there's still always a lot that it can get discouraging sometimes, just if you look at this or maybe just the forum as a way to of what's being done. But I mean, there's always stuff going on that's not necessarily communicated to us. So, and maybe that's a good idea for a process improvement. I mean, I don't know what it'd be, but some better way to get all of the people involved that are working on things to write down what they're doing at least.
Lauren, you're muted.
Yeah, Any blocks you didn't mention, Chris?
I'll go
I can think of. No.
next.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Who wants to go next? Okay, I'm gonna go next. So I'm giving myself a 5,
sorry.
and the team a 10, and process improvement. I agree with. And Milo is it Milo? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Milo is
So
my name.
I'm gonna go agree with you that getting more people on the call. Yeah. Getting more people on the call, and maybe some technical improvements. And I mentioned my block already, so I'm done. Okay, Milo or Michael?
I'll go. So I would give myself probably an 8 or a 9 because I got a tremendous amount accomplished for my first week. Team probably an 8 or 9 as well, simply because a few people didn't show up on time. Not for this call. I mean, because of so few of us. Another actually at this shop, we had a few people there for like another 2 hours. So it's just kind of like a block for this NSX. We could have had this done already, but you know, I can't really do it all by myself. It's something we need 2 people or more to be able to work on. So it's kind of a bit of a block. I wanted to actually ask you guys about. You probably know we're trying to develop a hinge, or not a hinge, but a door latch that can survive a crash. So it's probably going to need to be and it's preferably built out of aluminum. So I was kind of thinking something like this. Offset. So the one is slightly ahead of the other, and they would pinch together to go through just a big aluminum block, like one of those square pieces that are just, small, just a little block of aluminum. And it could latch right into place, and you could have it linked to a forward lever device. If you guys have any ideas that might be able to help that process along, that'd be lovely.
Okay, Milo, that was a little hard to see on the screen. If you want to take a picture with your phone or something and put it on Carica, have they put you on Carica yet?
Yeah, I'm technically on Carica. No, I don't remember if I am or not. I looked at it, but I've never edited it.
Well, if you try add a task, you can't really attach anything until after you've assigned it to someone. So you add a card, you describe what it is you want to do, and then you assign it to someone. If you're not on the list, you can assign it to somebody else, just so that you can attach the pictures and stuff and describe what you're doing. The other way would be to take a little video and post it to YouTube, so that you've got all the stuff in order and stuff. Because it gets out to more people than the video does. That's just a suggestion. Anyway, my retrospective is 2 for me because I didn't get anything done. 9 for the team because things are getting done, which it's nice to see. And I'll join in on it would be nice to have more people on the call. Have we come up with a technical solution for people that do not have enough bandwidth to join the Google Hangout and just want to call in?
No.
That was one thing about Zoom. When you set up a Zoom meeting, there's automatically a call-in number. So I thought that was cool.
Okay, because I haven't seen Keith for quite some time. Actually, pretty much since we started doing the Hangout thing. So.
Yeah, it's not available in Google Hangouts on Air. You can call a number from the regular Hangout, and then maybe use some other kind of conference calling software for people to dial into. But yeah, basically in Hangouts on Air, the only thing I've thought is maybe possible is setting up an external phone system that is also, since it's on a computer, it's basically also joining into the Hangout that people can call into or something. But yeah, it would definitely be an external solution to Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that, although I really like Milo's door thing too. I'm intrigued with that. Yeah. So maybe next week, once we have a little more about it, it reminds me a little bit. First of all, so I'm going to say we've done everything we need to manage the project to do the stand-up, and in half an hour, even though we started a little late. And this is so far our normal size meeting, about four. We're probably averaging 4 people. So that's a really tight, well-structured meeting. So that was great. And now is the time for any kind of free-form crosstalk, questions, answers. And I have one comment about the door that will survive the crash. Sort of pet peeve of mine. I know I did traffic safety research early on in my career, and I think I remember people reading about people that let me think. That I think. Let me see. Yeah, the car seatbelt, and this is also to do with the crash. The car seatbelt latches on the inside of the car. So if people are trying to rescue people out of a car, they have to clamber over the person and get to the seatbelt. And some people objected to that. They said there should be some kind of lever to release people who may not be conscious from a vehicle. So it reminds me of that, and it's kind of along the same line, that in a crash, how do you help the rescuers?
I was having an idea along a similar line that uses 2 latches and a beam. So the beam would actually come from the center of the car, right? And the beam would shut down and latch into the buckles beside you, and then it would have a roll with the momentum lock, just like your shoulder strap has on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have to really get buckled, just pull that bar down. And you could have it unlocked through a lever on one of the sides, probably the outside, where you just pull it up and it releases the bar.
Yeah. With
the belt going across the center and across the shoulders.
Have you seen some of the older cars? They used to have what they call a passive seatbelt that when you close the door, the seatbelt would close.
Yeah, those smell that go on a runner. It gets dirt and stuff up in there, and they stop working.
Yeah.
So I wanted to redesign that completely.
Yeah. Cool.
Milo, what I'm getting out of your description is more like the bar that comes down on a joyride, or on a carnival ride. Is that more like what you're thinking of?
Or the bulk of the aluminum would not be what holds you yourself. It would actually be the buckle between the pieces of the bulk aluminum. I'll also put something up on Carica, just let other guys ponder about it.
Okay. And as for your request on an update on the electric motor module, would a video be better? Pictures don't really tell a story, mostly.
Yeah, a video about your latching mechanism and how it currently attaches, that would be great.
Linkage mechanism, you mean?
Yeah,
I don't have
the part that latches to the tires for your rotational force.
Okay. All right. I will see what I can do. No promises.
Sounds awesome.
Any other free-form discussion?
Hey, Michael, did you get that wheel off of the, was it the Mazda?
I have not, but I got the same advice from Lauren, from Joe, and from a couple guys that I work with. Basically, these bolts are known to be sticky, and you just got to put a lot of force into them. So Part Source, which is a local tool place here, actually rents tools that so you don't have to buy like a 30 millimeter socket that you're never going to use again. And they rent 3/4 inch drive stuff. So I'm actually going to be heading there after we get off the call and get a T-bar and a socket, and that'll fit in onto a 5-foot bar that I've got, and that sucker's coming off. I'm not sure if it's going to come off in one piece or multiple pieces, but it's coming off.
The problem with one-sided bolts like that, or with the one-sided pry bars like that, when you lift up on it with the 6 feet of leverage, it tends to push the bolt kind of sideways as well, and then when the freaking bolt gets stuck on the pry. So it works better if you can get a second person and have 2 of them. So one is going down while the other is going up, so that the socket stays in place and doesn't do one of these thingies.
Yeah, and
it best works if you have a 1-inch impact, though. You know, one of those big ones with the drive transmission. That'll get it off.
Well, you kind of need 2 people to hold a 1-inch impact as well, but that's a little out of the price range. But yeah, I'm sure if it kinks on me, I'll build some sort of a support, and I will get it off. I just didn't want to destroy stuff. If this is quasi-normal for getting the nuts off, I'm okay with that. I will add more force.
Just as you're not going to have, after you break the part that is the proprietary nut system that Mazda put on there, are you sure it's not going to fall off retardedly while you're going down the road because it doesn't have that stupid little locking mechanism?
Well, the little locking mechanism is actually the nut. If you think of taking a punch on the edge of a piece of metal and smacking it so that the nut bends inward and fits into a notch in the bolt.
Gotcha.
That's the locking mechanism. So it may be proprietary, but it's none too fancy. I did get that part bent back out using a couple of punches and various other little bits of stuff that I could fit in there, but I just wasn't expecting it to take nearly this much force to get it apart.
Did you solve the shavings all over the place, or?
I did get the shavings out, a pocket knife, and an old wood awl that was sharpened up on a grinder. Ended up doing the job.
Lauren looks like he's dying over there.
Yeah, Lauren seems to seems to expect to be surprised by me. I'm not sure why exactly.
Michael's happy just as long as you don't mention making the car longer so people can sleep in it. Yes, Huh?
Who wanted the car longer so you could sleep in it?
Remember I sent that email, or it wasn't an email, it was on the Google Groups forum, and I mentioned a bunch of things that could probably be improved, and then like towards the end, I was like, plus it wouldn't hurt if there was like a little bit more room so people could sleep in it. And you're just like, some of those things sound like things that are custom to your needs only.
Okay.
You remember that?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was you, but okay.
Yeah, that was
triangular modifications to the frame so that for aerodynamics and stuff, if I remember.
For aerodynamics and a harder crash structure. Right.
Actually, I thought that they actually spent a bit of time softening up the crush structure so that it would crush with that 6063 stuff. Because they want one part to crush and the other part to stay rigid, if I remember. But this is all mechanical stuff, and it's kind of out of what I normally do.
Yeah.
I'm electrical. So, I have opinions, they just don't mean much.
Any chance you're gonna come visit us again sometime?
I've never been out of the shop.
Really?
Actually, I've never met anybody involved with WIKISPEED in person.
Lauren's dying again.
I lived in Saskatoon for 2 years. It's actually a hotbed for high tech. Nortel. I don't know if you've heard of Nortel.
Nope.
They were like Cisco. They were an early, very successful networking company. They started in Saskatoon, a government, what they call a crown corporation here, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Michael. And then they went to Toronto, I think, and then they went to California, and then they went bankrupt or something. But also, first ATMs were in network and fiber optic networks, and it's very people can just do things. It's small, and also there's not a lot of distractions in my experience anyway. There's a really successful little drone company in Saskatoon. So,
do they have retarded drone laws in Canada as well, or no?
What's that?
Do they have retarded drone laws, like 20,000 drones can spy on U.S. Americans? But
yes, well, there's concern, but I don't know if they're actually doing. They're saying, if there's drones, they'll the Aviation Commission will complain. But I was just talking to someone about getting drones to take a picture of an event I was thinking of doing with kayaks, and these people from it's actually called Rainforest Action Network, where they said, they use drones all the time with no problems.
Well, they used to have something called a remote-controlled helicopter. And a camera and all sorts of stuff all the time, and no one cared about it. It wasn't until America started strapping bombs to them and all sorts of craziness that people are like, this could be used as a weapon. And then they're like, oh my! And now they're saying, now the FCC is saying, if you have a remote-controlled plane that's over so many feet, it's automatically considered a drone. And it's like, my dad used to fly airplanes that, way up high, and no one complained about it,
I believe that the court judge threw out the FCC's petition saying they didn't have jurisdiction on anything that didn't carry passengers, but I haven't kept up to date on it. I know that the FCC was revising it, trying to outlaw drones, but they just take themselves far too seriously.
Yeah. And then there's the case where the drone and the helicopter almost got in a crash, and the helicopter pilot, who was a police officer, it was flying towards us and almost caused a crash. It was actually the remote control plane was actually fleeing from the helicopter, and the helicopter was chasing after it. We really need to find something over here to charge officers who falsely report things with a major crime and put them in jail for 5 or more years. Seriously, it's not funny. It happens all the time. Look at Ferguson and the guys that got murdered in those towns, St. Louis and all those. Sorry, I'm rambling. This doesn't have anything to do with WIKISPEED.
I like rambling personally, but is there any more kind of WIKISPEED crosstalk freeform things? Okay, well, great meeting.
Hey,
great
actually,
stand-up. Go ahead.
I have a question, right? All right, they've tested several prototypes of wiring for just the lights and stuff, and one was Cat5, and they said they didn't like the Cat5 because it was hard to solder to and hard to work with. Well, what do you think of using relays and fuses directly at the place they need to be instead of in some sort of encumbrant box.
Okay, I haven't actually tested the lighting system. I think you might be thinking of somebody else.
Well,
I haven't built one.
You said you were the electrical guy, so.
Well, I am an electrical guy. I don't know if I'm the electrical guy, but the putting fuses where they're needed is great as long as somebody can find them. If you're putting fuses all around the car, they have to be in a box that's relatively weatherproof, and you need access to them to be able to change the fuses. So if you can do that, that's great. The Cat 5 you don't really solder to. You should crimp to if you're using an automotive application. Solder wicks up the wire and makes it too hard, and then when it vibrates, it bends back and forth and it breaks off. Whereas a crimp connector looks flimsy, but it's actually designed to give a little bit, and it doesn't bend back and forth and fail the same way that a solder joint does.
Gotcha.
It's kind of goofy, but that's kind of how it works.
Huh.
So, I'm actually...
my ideal application would be like USB.
Well, CAN bus is the OBD2 network, and there's lots of chips that will speak CAN bus, and you can actually get it as an add-on board for an Arduino or for a Beagle board or Raspberry Pi. So it's relatively accessible, but it's not real high bandwidth. You have to decide how much data you want to move and just move that.
Yeah. It'd just be kind of cool.
Milo, you froze up on us again.
We had if what's the status on getting
Yeah.
a better forum? I would help moderate it if it was, I prefer PHP BB. It's a pretty popular bulletin board that isn't as slow as the more popular one.
I think there are some heritage issues with moving to a different one. It's just a bunch of work to get all the existing messages moved over and classified and stuff.
It's actually at this point not even possible. Google
Okay.
changed the setup for forum a year or two ago, and there is no way to extract any of the old messages out of the Google forum.
Other than manually.
Page by page, yeah, I mean, you could copy and paste it, but that's, I mean, you're talking. There's a lot of post in there.
A lot of the old ones don't even have any purpose, though, right? Or is, since so much has changed?
Still, to determine that, you would have to go through and look at each one. So, I mean, it may be possible at some point to make the decision that that is now being used as an archive of information, and new questions be directed towards a new forum. But at this point, it works. It works, and the move to something else would be fairly substantial. So, I mean, again, I think we discussed this in the forum. Actually, It's totally doable. I mean, it's if something else is better and comes along, we can do it. I believe there also, if somebody wants to get really fancy, there may be some ways to do wgets on the Google forum to browse through each page and pull and extract the information. I think there's some issue with actually the change they made using wgets to pull each page. I don't think that's how they're dealing with it. But anyway, so there may be ways to move it over. Yeah, definitely. If somebody's interested in setting it up and doing it, I mean, might as well. My preference would be something that's built into WordPress, just because that way there's one platform that people can learn to deal with everything. Well, but I'm not opposed to PHP BB either.
If I get it set up, would you be able to create a file in WIKISPEED /points to a DNS to my server, and then we could paste it like that on just the forum, or do you want me to just send you the file and you put it on the server after I get it set up?
Yeah, so I can get you access. If you want to set it up on your own server, that is doable. Yes, we can point. In that case, it would probably be the other way around. It would be, phpbb.wikispeed, because I can point that to your IP address. But the easiest and probably the best thing to do in order to keep it going in the long run would be to get you access to GoDaddy, where everything's hosted, and you can set it up as a subfolder at forum, or whatever you wanted to do. But yeah, if you want to set it up and play with it, I say definitely go for it, and then it's something to demo. And if every one of the team agrees that it's something that they would prefer to use over what we're currently using, then it gets implemented immediately. So.
All right. Well, one of these times, I'm not going to have a whole lot of time right now. Joe wants me to start working on brakes and learning the brake system.
Okay.
So.
Well, so when you are interested in it, send me an email and I can get you access to GoDaddy and all that kind of stuff. In order you're into it to play around and get it set up. Or if you have any questions too, I'm very familiar with how to do all of that. So.
Why would you be using GoDaddy?
I think it's a price situation. That was set up before I started.
You haven't heard of people installing and such?
Say again?
You haven't heard of the scandal about GoDaddy liking to steal domains?
Oh, well, yeah. Trying to get them transferred away can be an issue. But I think the domains have been with GoDaddy far longer than that's been an issue. But yeah, if it was my preference, I would go with some kind of a cPanel host. There's several out there, because it's more of a standard interface that several people are pretty well versed in, and it's a clean interface. It's way easier to navigate, in my opinion.
HostGator and then Bluehost.
Bluehost, yeah.
Those seem to be pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm using Bluehost. They've been really good.
Yeah, I think that's just one of those points where it was set up there originally, and no one's wanted to take the effort to move it over. I've migrated domains to different domain hosts before, not just websites, and it's a process. It can be trying to get everybody on the same page in order to not have downtime. It definitely takes knowing exactly who is in charge of what piece and what order it's going to happen in and when it's going to happen.
Yeah. That's why you prototype the site all in HTML off from a fake server or off a different server, and then after you get the site looking good and not broken, and then you replace it. You know what I mean? That's how I would do it.
Yeah. Well, you set it up in the you migrate it before you move the DNS, definitely, and the domain hosting.
Okay, guys, my headset's going dead here, so I'm gone. We will talk to you next week.
All right. Later, Michael.
You want to log back onto to WIKISPEED and shut out the live thing so we're not wasting bandwidth or pasting.
I'll go ahead and stop the broadcast at this point. I think Warren stepped off too.
Yeah, more of a distracted now.